Good morning, everybody, and I'm absolutely delighted and honoured to be here moderating this event. So, I started my television career a very long time ago in the UK, at a time when many considered that there was just a single source of truth, the BBC. The BBC was looked at as a bastion of trustworthiness, accuracy, truthfulness. It's almost enough to make you feel slightly nostalgic, because it was all so simple then, was it not? But if you look around the world today, you'll see a very different picture. There doesn't seem to be any uniformity or agreement on what is truth. We've got broadcast channels as varied as Breitbart, Al Jazeera, Russia Today, CBS, Fox News, and they're all claiming to be objective, accurate, and impartial. And then you've got the print world, which is a mess as well, because it's now vying with multiple online channels, such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google, and the list goes on. And this is what you get, a Tower of Babel. What has happened to truth to a very real extent? It's got lost in this Tower of Babel, which is now our public news media. So with this exponential growth in the number of platforms, the need for accuracy and transparency has never been more critical. The benefit that freedom of information undoubtedly brings also brings with it challenges and risks. And one of these risks is the interpretation of any communication received by the recipient. So we see this all the time in the political sphere, all this fake news business. And one thing springs to mind, Julian Assange. Is he a freedom fighter or is he an ignominious traitor? Well, it depends how you interpret the facts and how you separate the consequences from the ideology. So let's get closer to home and talk about you people and your world. And we see the editorial staff at The Lancet and the BMJ, two potential single sources of truth, slugging it out in what the popular press call the statin wars. Here we have two diametrically opposed positions based on the very same data. What are we supposed to make of it? I don't know. Not many people do know. So it seems like the words of the US President Howard William Taft right at the beginning of the century, when he said, "Don't write so that you can be understood. Write so that you can't possibly be misunderstood." Clarity, accuracy, transparency. We're going to be hearing those words a lot today. Now, what about the pharma industry? Well, there's a lot of deep-seated cynicism that people hold about the pharmaceutical industry, and so therefore it's fertile territory for emotional and irrational opinions, which are disseminated on channels like Twitter to thousands of people just like that in an instant. And these perennial questions about Big Pharma, are they hiding data? Are they skewing data? Well, the genie's out of the bottle. It's been out of the bottle for a very long time now. And we do know that 15 years or so ago, there was a great deal of data that wasn't disclosed because it wasn't very favourable. And there was a lot of cherry picking going on. And I have it on good authority, correct me if I'm wrong, that a long time ago now, one pharmaceutical company undertook 13 placebo-controlled clinical studies on a new drug to get the 2 they needed for approval. The other 11 never saw the light of day. The sin of omission of inconvenient results. And then we have people like Ben Goldacre, love him or hate him, who came along to shine the spotlight on companies being economical with data on various drugs. Well, Ben, things have hopefully moved on now. We have moved on. You don't need to be banging on about the same things again and again. We've moved from a position of outraged and outright denial to a much more healthy environment, haven't we? And thank goodness for that. So turning now to the subject of today's symposium, the medical information professional's role has never been more important. Today, you're faced with the pressure for more transparency, for the full disclosure of clinical data, with governments and regulatory agencies continuously updating the rules and guidance on how this must be executed. Not only must positive and negative clinical data be published, but publications now need to be targeted to a variety of different audiences, scientific, medical and consumer. So it's very, very challenging times for you all. Can an 11-year-old understand what you're writing? And should it be you that's writing it? And if not you, who should be writing it? Do we need a completely different kind of writer? And what about patient groups? Can patient groups understand it too? So in the area of the soundbite, like it or not, soundbite, Twitter, all these snatches of communication that people love now. Einstein, he was a very wise man when he said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. My God, that's a challenge, isn't it? Or go back to Blaise Pascal, who wrote, I'm sorry this letter is so long. I didn't have time to write a shorter one. It's hard work, but boy, is it needed. I'm going to repeat those words: accuracy, clarity, consistency of message across so many different types of publications, and making our communication digestible to the layperson. As a journalist, may I suggest that for some of you, that may be your biggest challenge. But if you can do it, that's such good news. And above all else, it's such good news for the patient. Because surely you're all here at the end of the day for the patient, are you not? So medical communication today has lots of challenges, new ones together with the old ones, lots of things to exercise the collective mind today. So I think it's going to be really fruitful territory. I think you're going to find it extremely useful and helpful. But please, we do need your collaboration. So do feel free to, participate as much as you want. And I would like now to hand over to Slavka Barikona, who will provide an introduction to the next session, Requirements and Policies, Posting, and she'll be followed by Priya Pavithran and Susan Scott. So thank you very much indeed, and enjoy the conference.